And anyway, it was a midnight shift, so I'm up most of the day. I go back out there. I get plaster of Paris and imprints of the landing site. Trying not to be observed by the rest of the security that's in and about. I got caught by Major Drury on the way out again. I mean, and he gave me an order then to stay out of, to stay away from there. And anyway, so I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to lay down, go to sleep. I can't go to sleep. I got these flashes of these ones and zeros, like it just drives me crazy. I can't go to the base hospital. Here's the situation I was in. If I went to the base hospital, I'd have to say, okay, I had contact with a craft of unknown origin outside the base. Anyway, it wasn't going to end well. You know what I mean? They'd probably relieve me of duty then and more. Now I see ones and zeros. I mean, I can't even imagine trying to explain this to a doctor. And so it was about midnight, and I'd lay down, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and I still couldn't sleep. I figured, okay, I'm not going to sleep. That's pretty obvious. So I get up at around midnight, 1 o'clock, and I make a pot of coffee because I know I'm not going to be able to sleep. And I'm sitting at my dining room table, and I'm looking through, I've grabbed my notebook, and I'm looking through that, and I'm looking at my notes. I'm starting to disbelieve some of the stuff I've seen, but these ones and zeros were so bad. I mean, anytime I closed my eyes, I could see them in my mind's eye. And I said, I think I can write those down. And so the only paper I had was the notebook, so I flipped it back to the back, and I started writing them down. And as I started writing, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, started writing those down, I felt better. Anyway, I wrote down 16 pages in that notebook, and then it just stopped. I couldn't see the ones and zeros anymore. So I'm thinking, oh my God, you dodged a bullet, Jim. You know what? You might be all right. That ones and zeros are gone. Maybe you're gonna be okay. So I did go to bed that night, despite the coffee too. And when I got up, I felt great the next day. And so I never brought up my meltdown I had with these ones and zeros until 2010. And that was accidentally found out because we're doing a film shoot, and I was asked a question by John Burroughs, who's there doing the film shoot along with Linda Moulton Howe, and he asked me about a phone, about time or something. I'm flipping back. I went back too far in the book, and the ones and zeros was there. And this is in 2010. And they go, what's that? I go, I'm thinking, well, I guess I might as well tell them what happened, And Linda says, well, you know what that is? And she says, that's binary code. And I go, binary code? Now, when she said that made the connection. I knew what it was. I thought it was ones and zeros. I didn't know what binary code was. But I had done a hypnosis session in 94 after I got out, a year after I got out, because I wasn't sleeping. It got so bad I was only getting 2 hours sleep a night maybe. And so I went to my medical doctor. She seen me, says, there's really not too much to do. I want to refer you to a psychiatrist. Maybe she can help. I said, okay. So I did that, and I was treated by her for maybe a couple sessions. And she says, what we might need to do is we might need to do a hypnosis session and find out what happened in your childhood or something that's causing these problems. I went, childhood? Oh my God, are you kidding? And I started thinking, you mean like I was molested or something? She says, I don't know. And I said, oh, okay, well, all right, we'll do that. And so at that time, she filmed, her notes was filming it. So she filmed a 2-hour session, And when I came out of the hypnosis, I tell you what, I felt great. I felt relaxed then, and I'm looking over at the psychiatrist, and her jaw's on the table, and she says, "We're going to have to do another one of these." I says, "Really?" I says, "Is it bad?" She says, "Well, we're going to have to talk about Woodbridge." I went, "Oh, so that's what the problem is, huh?" She goes, "Yes." I was sort of relieved in a way because I had a normal childhood. That was good. And but the Woodbridge thing, so we did another session of another 2 hours. Of those 4 hours, she gave me, and it would never happen today, she gave me her notes. She says, "You can have this to 8mm film clips." And she says, "Maybe you should watch them," because I had no memory of the hypnosis. She stopped that. And I said, "Okay." And of that 4 hours, none of it has been released. Oh, excuse me. There was a minute and a half was released in a documentary, Invasion UFOs by MPH Entertainment back in 2004. That's the only part that's been in there released. But when I was writing this book, I did use some of the. Oh yeah! By the way, getting back to the about Linda Moulton Howe and the binary, in that transgression of the hypnosis, I talk about seeing binary code, and something I never knew what it was. And so it all seemed to make sense in 2010 when they said that's what it was. You
think that Kraft was trying to give you some information of, or trying to communicate with you, or trying to read your thoughts? What do you, looking back at it, Jim? What do you think?
Well, looking back, it was communication, because I gave like 5 pages out to Prometheus Entertainment. That's who was doing they do H aliens. I gave them to them. I faxed them or not faxed, but I scanned them, and they went and gave it to someone to decipher them. Also, Linda, she wanted copies, and I said I'd give her to her, after I get back to Illinois. And so I get the results back from Kim Sharon, the producer, and we're on the phone, and she goes, "You ain't gonna believe this, but there's this binary is a message. It says something." I said, "You got to be kidding me." She goes, "No." And so we went through it, and I found out that there's 7 coordinates, actually 6. The 7th coordinate is the one at High Brazil, is mentioned twice at the beginning and at the end, and then there's the message with it, and for the advancement of humanity and things like that. And so we run it out to, we form the Rendlesham research team. We run it out to 5 different places around the world, professors, all experts in their field. They all come back with the same thing. So, and independently they work that. And so that's what the ciphering came out, and we thought that was it with the message. We did the book with Nick Pope, which was Encounter book, Encounter in Rendlesham Forest. And anyway, we had a bunch of work that wasn't in the Encounter book. Gary Osborne, who did about 50 pages, didn't go in. I had another 80. And it's just because the book was going to get too massive. And Nick told me, he says, "What you need to do," he says, "you probably need to write a book about the code and the experience." He says, "in another book." I said, "Okay, Nick, that's what we'll do." So we started that 5 years ago. And in the course of doing that, Gary's research, we found that there was a code within the code. And he discovered we thought they were coincidence at first, and somewhere around the 50th coincidence, we said, okay, this has got to be by design. And that we do address in the Rendlesham Enigma book that came out. It's in the epilogue. It's a transitional chapter that will take you to another book, which will be strictly about the code and its findings and its discoveries. There's some certain things with the code that are just fascinating, like the fine structure constant is found within this code itself, and that is something that is inherent throughout the universe, apparently, and usually it goes over digitally, from a point, 1/10 to 1/100, 1/1000, 10,000. It goes all the way over. According to Carl Sagan, if it goes over 6 digits, I guess that's where we operate as human beings. If it goes over 7, that means it came from a very intelligent source. The binary code, fine structure constant in the binary code that we have, goes over 14 places. So whoever this intelligence is, they're very, very smart, and that is proven within that code. We challenge anybody to disprove the code. Anybody. Believe me, there's been a lot of people that tried. You can't argue with the math. The math is pretty startling.
Now, hey, Jim, we got to do our final, commercials and breaks. We'll be back in 4 minutes. And then, if you don't mind, James has a lot of questions. I got questions, sure, and we can go from there for the last half an hour. We'll be back with James Penniston right after all this.
Okay, thanks.
Scintillas in the stream,